Hello everyone, this is lesson 2 for the Adobe Photoshop CC 2018, and today we're going to be going over the interface and the workspace. So most of you will just call it the workspace, but the interface is basically comprised of the menu bar, the option bar, the tools panel, and the document window. And then your workspace is your panels basically, but then you can set those up the way you want to. So let's start off with the menu. That's up here where the file, edit, image, and layer are. This basically gives you access to all the commands, the adjustments, and the panels. So each one of these, if you go into it, layers, windows, here's all your panels. Okay. And over here we have the options bar. That's across right out underneath the menu bar. Now the options bar is basically options for all your tools. So we have, every time you click on one of these tools, it's going to give you different options for that tool. And that brings us to the toolbar. And as you notice, if I hover over the toolbar, it's going to give you an explanation of what it is and also a video on how and what it does. So this is new to 2018. Before they didn't have the video, and if you're using the earlier version, you're not going to see the video. You'll just see a little menu that comes up that says crop tool. So you can go through all these. We're going to be going through all these as we're doing projects, so I'm not going to go and explain each one of them right now. This is just basically shows you where it is. And then as you come down here, this here is your percentage on what you see. So right there we had 77%. If we go 50%, then that gives you the percentage of basically, here's a 50%. Let's go to 25%. And of course, next to it is your document size. So if you hit it, it'll tell you the width, the height, what type of color you're going to be using. We went over that last course about the CMYK. That would be usually used for prints. And then if you're using for the screen is the RGB. And then also you can see that the resolution is 300 pixels. Again, we went over that. 300 pixels is for a print. 72 pixels is okay for online type images for websites. Over here we have the panels, and you can see each of the panels. You can sit there. I'm not going to go through and show you how to move them around yet. We'll hit those up in a minute. This will just give you basically access to all your tools that you can use. And right now I have it set up on the essentials right now, and these are the different ones that you can go through. Again, we'll be going through those in a minute. And then last but not least is your document window. And your document window displays the files that you're currently working on. And as you can see, I left 3 open so that you can see that you can work on more than one. Just keep in mind, if you have an older computer or a computer with not a lot of memory, you want to limit to how many windows you open, because it'll eat up your memory pretty quick. And then you can see, you close it. And let's see what else here. So up over here in Edit, we can go to Preferences. Now, Preferences is going to be basically where you can set up all your presets. So it's always ready to go the way you like it. Your interface, what we're going over right now, is right here. You can change that. Now these are your color presets, and of course you can go to other. This is the one I like. Not too much contrast, not a lot of washed out. So this isn't too awful bad, but it's still a little dark for me. And once you get here, again, that's like on the fence, but here, that's too washed out for me. So I just keep it right here on the default. And you can go through and you can monkey with this. Some people like black on black on black. So you can go through and change all this here. Your font size, one of the things, make sure. Okay, so read these, because you can go in here and change this. Oh, it didn't do anything because it didn't change any. And then even if you hit OK, it didn't do anything. It didn't change anything. So read those little hints, because it'll say changes will take effect next time you turn or you start Photoshop. So you actually have to shut down Photoshop and then turn it back on for that to take place. And again, like me, I usually leave everything on default, but just because I'm not that picky. One things I do change is over here on the panels. But Workspace, I think the only thing over here I would really even change would be, you can change the size of these tabs over here. I like the large ones, those are fine. I got a bigger monitor, so I can see fine with that. And let's see what else would be interesting in here. Your guides, you can change the color of your guides. We didn't go over those rulers and stuff. So let's go ahead and pop that out. So here's your guide right here. So if you want, you just grab these from the ruler and you can line things up. You can use them for whatever you need. And to get rid of those, just clear guides. Let's go back in here. One of the things I do, units and rulers. So if you do a lot of web work, you're really not going to use inches that much. You're going to use the pixels. So you can go ahead, if you're going to do a lot of web work for a while, just change it to pixels here so you don't have to keep bouncing back and forth. Because if you don't, and you leave it on inches, then when you go in over here to do a canvas size change, and always have to sit here and go in here and pop off that. So if you have it preset on pixels, it'll stay on pixels. So we go in here, go to preferences, units and rulers, and if you notice over here, same thing, width time height is in inches. If we change that to pixels, then when we set over here, we got a logo here. It's like the one that we set up to 1000 by 1000. Then you don't have to worry about changing it to inches and do that. And then when you're working on a website, it says 500 by 500. You got it. Don't have to monkey with it. Let's go back in here. If there's any other things, you're in scratch disks. You probably want that. So if you run out of the memory, if you don't have more than 16 gig, you run out of memory, you can use, I wouldn't recommend this one. I would recommend your second. If you have a second drive, then go ahead and use that as your scratch disk. Cursors, go in and change all your cursor settings to what you like. Tools, these are your automatic tools that are on or off. This is one that a lot of people use, is zoom with scroll wheel. So you can set your scroll wheel, instead of going up and down, you can use it to zoom in and out. I prefer not to do that. If you Alright, so that was how you set up all your preferences. Now we have time to go over these panels over here. So I'm going to go over the adjustments. So layers is a pretty in-depth. That's a lesson or two by itself, is to go over all these options inside here. And we'll probably be hitting on that on the next lesson. And so each one of these, you can set these up however you want. You can pop them in, pop them out. You can just let it float over here. You can pop it in over here. Pop it out. You can get rid of it. You can go back in here, grab it, and pop it back over here. Let's say you want it above it. Blue line signifies where it's going to land, so it's above it. I prefer it to be in the same because I don't like too much stuff spread out. You can bring it over here, expand that one. You can make that go down. Oh, I've created a new one. I didn't want to do that. So pop it right here. And if you want properties, you go here and you can put it right on top. Then when you click it, it's going to be just like it was over there in two different ones. You want to separate it, pull it down below it. Now it's by itself. Okay, so once you get it where you want it, you can expand it. Layers, you'll probably want a little bit bigger anyway, because you're going to be using a lot of different layers when you're doing photos and stuff, so you can hang out them up there. So several different ways you can close it over here, pull it out, close it, go over here, same thing, uncheck it. Really can't mess anything up because you can just go right back to where it was. So your default, it opens up this libraries over here. This is basically your library from the Creative Cloud file. So what happens is it'll save the file in a folder, and then it syncs up. I don't know if I have it over here or not. Yeah, the Creative Cloud folder. And then you can just put all your stuff on there. And then what it does is it syncs it up to the cloud and it saves it up there. You're somewhere else, you want to pull it down, you just log in, you pull it down. Normally I don't really use that much because I work on all my stuff here and I have my own backup. So once you get it all situated the way you want, you can go in here and say new workspace. You can name it. Save. Now we have them up here. Which one you want? You can pop back and forth. So you can set up on different jobs. Gives you a lot of flexibility. Histogram. You're going to use this for your photos. Again, we'll go over all these in depth. The Navigator is nice too. Let's see. Navigator is a nice one to have because, let's see, you can move it around here. So you don't have to be on the picture itself. You can sit there and move it around without it being, and you can actually, it's better to move it over here for the Navigator. Gives you, doesn't take up your space. Now all the panels that you can use are going to be in the window, and it's going to be from the 3D all the way down to tool presets. And these are all the ones that you can turn on and off. Your timeline's it runs it around down on the bottom on here. So let me show you that real quick. Close tab group. So now you can make these big. You can make them smaller. You can move them around. You can undock them. Anywhere there's a blue line, you can undock. You can close. Let's go. You want to move this down here? You can move it down here. You can set up several of them down here. Navigator down here. So you can do anywhere. You can pop this one out, put it right there. You can expand it so you can have them all over here. Put them over here. You want them all over here, put them over here. So you can pretty much, it's very nice. You can move everything around wherever you want. All right, so just do it like this because that's the way I like it. And go in, play around with it, set it up the way you want. Like I said, you can set all your stuff up. One of the things it does allow you to do is the new workspace. You can sit here, you can do different keyboard shortcuts, menus, and toolbars. And you can save everything like that under this setting. So if you have more than one person in the family or at work using the same computer with the same installation, then you can sit there and set it up for whoever's working on the computer, and then they don't have to spend a half an hour, 15 minutes sitting there setting up their workspace every day. Just I always try to keep it clean. But okay, so this lesson was over the interface. We went over the menu bar, the options bar underneath the menu bar, the tools panel, that's over here, and the panels, these are over here and down here along the bottom, and then also the document window, which holds your documents that you're working on. And then we went over the preferences. This is where you're going to set up your colors and all your variables and stuff that you want preset. That's all set up in the preferences right here. Go through, play with it. There's always these reset. Okay, they have several of them that'll sit there and pop back to default, so you can't mess up too many things. And also we went over all your panels, 3D all the way down to tool presets. If you have any questions, leave it at the bottom of the screen there, and if you like the video, like it and subscribe. In lesson 3 we'll dive into the layers panels, so we can go over a couple before we start working on any projects. Alright, thank you and have a good evening.